this one work?
So many of you are sort of friends. It's really lovely to see you. And it's nice to be here in Manchester.
Oh, sorry.
Well, with Manu and Jenny. This is where you live, right?
Sorry about the technical difficulties. It's an absolute pleasure to be here talking to you. So, I'll ramble on, and Anneke can...
I'll interrupt.
Yes, please do. And then we'll open it up to you guys. We'll just see how we go. I've got some clips, which Anneke must feel free to talk over. But we'll just see how it goes. So I was going to start. There's some pictures. It's just interesting to talk about pre-Doctor Who. If you.
No, what you're looking at now is what you're. Yeah. Okay. So
yeah.
To twist around.
Oh no.
Okay. Yeah.
Avengers and The Saint, and that's you there, is it?
Oh, that's me. 11 years old.
10
years old.
Child's Play, 1954.
1952.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Internet
Actually,
lies.
it was 1951, and it didn't come out till 52, so it was. So I was 10.
Oh, I see. So it's just for me that era of, not just because of Doctor Who, but because of the 60s in general. But just like, what was it like being you were a child actor, then you were a young woman as an actor? I mean, what was it like being an actor pre Doctor Who?
What was it like?
What was it like? Sort of, was it all hanging out in the Inferno Club in Soho?
No. Wait, hang on. Let me go back because there never was a moment when I didn't think I would be an actor. That's so bizarre, isn't it? I was about 6 and I wrote my first play, and I performed it in front of my mum. So I was always going to be an actor. And then when I got in the film, The Child's Play, and that was so amazing, and Ballard Berkeley from 40 Towers, he played my dad. It's quite interesting. If you see that, I've got a little copy of it. And I have a scene where we all meet up with our parents, and he's playing my dad. Now, I didn't have a dad in my life, so I didn't know how to behave. And he was a bit sort of British and stiff. And I wanted to do, which I would do later on in The Railway Children, which was, Daddy, my daddy! I never got to do that, but anyway, so then I went to the wonderful stage school. And then I just did a chat with Channel 81, which is my favourite programme, Talking Pictures. I love that programme because here I get to watch all the movies that of the time when I was growing up. London in the 50s and the 60s, when there were no cars on the roads, and it was lovely. And so I did a little chat with them, and Rob Ross, the interviewer, said, well, you did a lot of telly when you were 11, 12, 13, 14. You played Jane Eyre. I said, I did. I did, yes. I was in it. Well, who did I play? He said, Jane Eyre. So, there was a lot. We were talking. He might get a word in edgeways. I was talking with Peter, and how we were trained in telly. We were trained in early telly. How to deal with the moving cameras that got it the wrong way, how to deal with tripping over the wires, how to deal with making the right spot so that the boom could pick you up. It was a technical feat, and we were trained, in this way. So we weren't just actors, we were also technical gymnasts. And the people in the BBC at that time, ATV also, of course, and Granada and so forth, they were so talented. They were incredibly talented. The cameramen, the technicians, they were incredibly talented. I want to tell you another story, because I came in the taxi. I do this, I talk just endlessly. But you don't mind, do you? No, you don't. Got in the taxi last night, and stay at the Crown Plaza. And I said, no, I haven't been here for years, actually. And I was sitting in the taxi thinking, when was the last time I was in Manchester? I came up to do a Granada telly in 1957. Ian Hendry. It was Alan Bates, Philip Saville. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I worked with the great and the good all the way through before I got into Doctor Who.
So
There you are, your turn now.
yeah, well, you also worked with David Hemmings, which is exciting. Pre-blow up, David Hemmings.
I went for the audition for Blow Up.
Oh, did you?
I did.
That was interesting.
What was the name of the director? Antonioni.
That's right.
Yeah. I walked in and I had heard that this famous Italian, that he spoke perfect English, but he liked to hide behind the thing of so I walked in and then he had his, and I stood there nervously. I wasn't given anything to read and there was this bank of people and then he said to his assistant, in Italian, and she said, can you turn to the left? Turn to the right. And by the time I came to the middle, I said, yeah, and I can talk as well, and I walked out of the room. I didn't get the part. Vanessa Redgrave did.
That's cool. So, then when you got news that you were auditioning for Who, Doctor Who, sorry, yes. I sound like a right geek, for Doctor Who, it was a big show, wasn't it? Dalek Mania had happened. How was it? Because now, Modern Who, it is like being the next James Bond. Yeah. But then in Britain it was big then, wasn't it?
It was big, and of course my hubby Michael Goff had already been in 1966. Peter Purvis just put me straight about that. I got the date wrong. He played the Celestial Toymaker. But it wasn't like. Nowadays, I guess you have a whole palaver. It wasn't. I went toddling along to the Beeb in White City. I went up around those lovely offices. I sat there waiting to go in. They said, Anneke, in I went, and there was, what was his name, producer? Innes Lloyd, and somebody else. And did I get to read? I don't know. I might have read a little something. They said, nice to see you. Okay. Thank you. And I didn't, I thought, well, I don't know, I might have got it, I don't know. I went home, I got on with my family life, I had things to do, and then the agent called up and says, okay, you got that. Oh boy, now that is exciting, I didn't expect it. And so then I ran up and down the street in Fulham Road, Hurlingham Road, thinking, I'm going to be Doctor Who! So then it was exciting. But up to that point, so there was no filming, there was no audition, there was no working with, none of that. They just, yeah, okay, what should do? But on the other hand, they knew me very well because I'd been working in the Beeb for years, so they knew if it's Anneke, they knew who they were getting.
Yeah, and were you taken on as a companion from that audition? Because I know things moved very fast.
No, I was immediately. That was the new lot. So it was Mike and me.
Yeah.
We were going to be the new.
Yeah. So it was, like we'll see with Peter later, it was the beginning of one adventure and then he's a companion by the end.
Yes.
It's just things can move on.
Like with Fraser, because Fraser came in and then said, yeah, we can.
Yeah, well, we've got a clip here. He's with us.
Never felt better, Doctor. Sir Charles has been looking for you everywhere. We've got a message from him about Dodo.
Oh, yes, I've been waiting around here for her. Where is she? I very nearly left without her.
Left?
Yes, to the airport, yes. She's when I hope.
She said she's feeling much better and she'd like to stay here in London and she sent you her love.
Her love? There's gratitude for her. Take her all the way around the world. In space and time.
Come again, Doctor.
Nothing, my boy, nothing. Now, I think you both want to get away, don't you? Thank you, Polly, very much. Thank you, Ben.
Bye.
Goodbye. Run along. Enjoy yourselves. Yes.
Well, a miserable...
Watch him. There's something strange about that piece box. Look, he's got a key for it. He's going inside.
got rid of the old companion.
Well,
Oh, she says that. Oh, right, okay.
that was actually one of my questions. I mean, what did happen to Jackie Lane? It's one of the most ignominious, not quite being left on a beach.
All I can remember rather meanly is, oh well, she's out and I'm in.
What
What's the name of the square? Russell Square.
I was going to say that looked like Russell Square, yeah. But it's so what did happen to Jackie Lane? Or do you not? You don't know? Oh, I see. Yeah, but so Modern Who, everyone is scheduling is 9 months non-stop, isn't it? But what was it like then? Because you ended one season and then it starts almost the next week.
No, we had a little summer holiday.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
So in transmission terms, it was.
The whole thing was it was a completely different. You know how very different it was. And when I met up with who was it? Oh, Peter Capaldi. And I was sitting having lunch with him. I become a complete, I can't, I'm just awestruck.
So is he.
Doctor. And so then he said, so, how was it in those days for you, Anneke? And I said, well, shut off and be nervous. It was, quite a, punishing schedule, really. I mean, we rehearsed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. He said, you rehearsed? I mean, yeah. Don't you? He said, no, we don't do rehearsals. Let's go straight into filming. So then he told me how he did it, and I thought, well, we wouldn't be able to do that. It was completely different. So we would rehearse Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The techies would come in, and the techies would work out where their cameras, where their booms, where everything was going to be, and us in the middle of the dance. And Friday we would work through all that. And Saturday we would be in the studio and doing it as for live. Peter's wonderful about this because he knows all the technical things of the cameras and everything. And then we do it, and we have Sunday off. And then we go back to work on Monday.
So 6-day week.
6-day week. And Sunday I would make big roasts and be with my children and clean the house.
Right. I mean, the word surreal does pop up a lot with the whole, when I was sort of preparing this, how surreal it must be. So we're here to, we're here to talk about, well, everything, but it's William Hartnell as a man, as a doctor. And what was he like to work with?
It's interesting because when I came back into the chatting room, what I remembered was his irascibility. But the curious thing was that when we went to do the filming on the Adventures in Time and Space, and there was David Bradley, and we went toddling down to have lunch, and I found myself, we're going to sit down, I'm saying, sit darling, do you need some water? I'll go and get you some water. He said, Anneke, I don't need looking after. I said, oh my God, that's so lovely. That's what I did with Bill. Bill needed sort of cosseting and looking after, and he was so irritable, but we didn't fight that. Mike and I took care of him, and that was a memory which I had entirely forgotten from that day to this. So that was a lovely memory back that, we were nice to him, and something else, I'll give you a little secret. If you watch, wait a sec, it's the Cybermen, it's the first one of the Cybermen.
Yeah.
It's Bill's last story. It's 10th Planet. If you watch him, now he knows I'm going. He loved me, of course he loved me. So we're standing in the back, and he puts his arm round my waist, which is not what the doctor would do. He would put his arms around your shoulders, or a hand, but he's got his arm around. And when he first meets me in the War Machines, and he's introduced, and this is Polly, my secretary, he gives me the eye. He goes, if you rewatch these things, then you notice, oh, bloody old sod, he's only looking me up and down. Of course he was.
That wasn't in an Adventures in Time and Space, was it?
Was.
So, and also, Michael Gray's sadly passed away in 1998. I mean, he's, you two are sort of cast together? Did you know each other before?
No, we never met. We met in the BBC studio, empty sort of studio there for those photographs that you see, and that was when we first met. And it was instant. It was instant buddies. It was a bit like Toby Haydock. It was instant buddies, friendship, love. That's it. You're my friend. That's it.
Because that scene in the Inferno Club is there is a really good sort of spark going on, sort of acting wise. It's weird in a children's program. Sorry, but this is like a scene in a fight and a brawl. It's quite strange to have watch family entertainment. But the chemistry.
It was mild compared with what we see today.
Well, yeah.
But he was.
The chemistry between you was absolutely.
We got on so well, and he was absolutely the most marvellous actor. He was such a good actor. He was beautiful. He had it all. He was beautiful. He was funny. He was talented, and he was a very good actor. And when I look at Fraser coming in, now I have, this understanding of our lives together and working together deepens as you get asked lovely questions. And when I look, I could see why Mike felt insecure when Fraser came in, because Fraser was very bumptious, telling all the jokes. You know what he's like, telling all the jokes, and the girls, and getting it on with all the makeup ladies. You know what he's like, this is what Fraser does. He goes, getting it on with all the young girls. And Mike felt insecure, and also, quite rightly, a bit miffed. Oi, this is our little scene together. Who are you? But he was good and he was polite and he accepted. But when it came to the end of our tenure and they said, we're going to phase Mike out now, and do you want to stay? I looked at the prospect of a future working with Fraser, and I thought, no, I can't do that because Mike's my mate. And that would look so disloyal to him to say, I'm going to go on with Fraser, do you mind? No, I couldn't do that. So I said, no, I'll go with Mike and we'll leave together.
Oh, well, you're preempting a future question.
Yeah, I've rushed on to the end now. What are you going to ask me now?
I was going to say about the Cybermen, because they were like your third story, and were they like your first proper monster,
yes.
First walking about weird monster,
yes.
And how odd was it? I mean,
yes.
you trained in TV, how was it working with a Cyberman?
Yeah, I mean, I trained in TV, but I'd never worked with a Cyberman before. So they were the first. And what I don't remember is in rehearsals, we must have been working in rehearsals with these very tall actors. We had to work with the voice was going to be off shoot, so that was, we wouldn't hear that, so that was a bit awkward. We didn't know really, and then when we came to do the day, when we saw them actually in their costumes, we thought, this is brilliant, they're absolutely brilliant, we really loved them, they were so good. And if you watch that, because it's the bit where he walks down the steps and he says, he says, we are Cybermen. It's so camp. It cracks me up every time.
Every time I watch the really old Cybermen, I'm quite shocked.
David Doddy Mead. Brilliant. Shakespearean actor, brilliant. We had such good actors. And Greg Palmer, Donovan Mountain, he was one of the Cybermen. I'm not sure if he was second class.
You must come and live with us.
We cannot live with you. You're so different. You've got no feelings.
Feelings? I do not understand that word.
Emotions, love, pride, hate, fear. Have you no emotions, sir?
Come to Monmouth and you will have no need of emotion. You will become like us.
Like you?
We have freedom from disease, protection against heat and cold, true mastery. Do you prefer to die in misery?
But look, surely it's possible for us not to lose our energy.
It is inevitable.
Then you don't mind if we all die.
Why should we mind?
Why? Why?
Because millions and millions of people are going to suffer and die horribly.
We shall not be affected.
Don't you think of anything except yourself?
We are equipped to survive. We are only interested in survival. Anything else is of no importance. Your death will not affect us.
But I can't make you understand. You're condemning everyone to die. Have you no heart?
No, that is one of the weaknesses that we have removed.
All right, get me Geneva, quick!
So it's interesting, you see, to watch that clip, because as Toby was saying, you know, that Bill brought so many colours into his performance, and there you see it, you know. You can see the strength, you can see the way that he brought these different colours into the way he was speaking. He was such a good actor. Yeah, so it was lovely to see that little clip. There's Mike gonna save the day. Yes.
So you had 4 days of doing the whole episode.
Did we have 4 days filming?
No, as in rehearsal.
Oh no, 4 days rehearsing.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
So
and
we were working with them up until when they came into their costumes, and then it was awkward for them because they were inside these hot suits, you know. You know, a lot of these costumes were so uncomfortable, and so it was hard for them. And didn't we? Wasn't it? Didn't we do a? We did later on. We did some filming, and they passed out because it was so hot. We filmed in Ealing.
Yeah.
That was the moon base when we were up on the moonscape. And you see there is a clip somewhere, and you see this Cyberman going, ooh, and he's kind of poor bugger. He's fainted in the heat. You know, I mean, you know, we were the men and the boys. This is how, you know, they wouldn't do this in telly now. They wouldn't, you know.
Health and safety.
We were making products and went along.
So,
and I love little Polly. I love little Polly saying, but don't you care? Listen, I have to tell you, it's not easy to watch yourself. If you watched yourself on I always want to get back and change it. I space myself out. I don't like to.
It must be very surreal, especially with the time that's passed.
It's
And the
very
fact that
interesting watching old movies, because a lot of them, I look at these young old actresses that gosh, she can't do it, can she?
But the sort of fact that Doctor Who was big, but you had no conception of how big it was going to be.
No, and the other thing.
How long it was going to go on.
No, and the other thing was that it was a show you were in, and it was popular. But after rehearsals, when Patrick came on board, after rehearsals, we'd go to the pub. And, you know, we got to hang out in a lovely pub. I introduced Patrick to all the lovely pubs in Fulham and Chelsea, these lovely old Victorian pubs with all the lovely mirrors and everything, and where my hubby and I used to hang out. So that was, and Patrick loved it. He would come, and we'd be in there, you know, and people would just lean over and go, "Working then." That was what we got, you know. We had privacy. We could be private, which is what Patrick and I absolutely loved. We liked to be private. Bill was different because he liked to be known as Doctor Who, and he liked the whole thing that went with it. Patrick and I used to like to go off and see movies, you know, on our own, and just be private. So it was very different those days. And the other thing that was completely different, which in a way for you modern people you don't understand, is that we weren't told, we had no idea how the audience was taking it, how many people were watching us, what the ratings were. The Innes Lloyd, the producers knew, they were told this information and they had it. They never told us, and we never asked. You know, we just got on and did our job, got paid, and, you know, and went home.
It wasn't the same sort of coverage.
No,
no clapping or...
Do you know, lovely, the bit when Mike and I come into the show, somebody sent me the Radio Times, and I think it's page 34, down at the bottom right-hand side, a tiny bit that big, saying the Doctor's going to, Doctor Who, the Doctor's going to have new companions, there'll be Anneke Wills and Michael Craze, who's a boy soprano. That was it. No photograph. That was our introduction. I liked it, you see, I could...
So at what point did it, because you sort of, am I right in saying that you sort of retired from acting a bit, and, or did you move?
What happened to you? Well, I did Stranger Things after Doctor Who. I did Stranger Things. Well, I did Avengers. I did the same once. I did the Avengers twice. There's something else twice. But I did the Stranger Things, which was wonderful. I signed for the Stranger Things for me to sign. And that was wonderful. That was Anthony Quayle. That was 6 months. Filming, it was different. We were filming in Pinewood. And so that was wonderful. At the end of that, I decided London was getting too full. The man next door had a boat parked in the road, and we thought, oh, honestly, it's getting ridiculous. And I thought, it's time to go to the country, and my children were growing up, and I wanted them to have the freedom of being able to get on their little bikes, and, you know, and so we went off to Norfolk, and the agent was sort of saying, you know, well, what do you want to do? Are you know, am I still putting you up for work or whatever? And I don't know, I don't think so. I think I'll take a break, and then the break lasted, and then it lasted sort of, not forever, because it was, you know, but anyway, yeah, so that was the end of that. I think I was done. You know, I mean, I've been at it since I was 11.
Yeah, well, it's not, I mean, it's also, it's not, from the outside it looks like, why would you ever give it up? It's not the be all and end all of it, is it?
No, I tell you what, at the end of Stranger Things, they then came, the American Buzz Berger, I'll never forget his name, Buzz Berger, was the producer, came down onto the set with Anthony Quayle and me and said, okay, listen, that was the end of our